Hello, in this video today, I'm going to be going over why I joined the music business.
Never ever seen eyes shine so bright, so lovely in the sunlight.
Hello everybody, my name is Jesse Haynes and I am the founder of Works by Think Tank Music. Works by Think Tank Music is a passion project. It's also how I do my freelancing recording right here in Sacramento, California, and I'm also able to help educate artists on music business practices, on how to put together press releases, how to apply for royalties, all those sort of things. That's something I'm very passionate about. And I didn't just get there overnight. I started doing this, I started doing music when I was 9. I picked up the clarinet and I played for probably 6 months. And then I learned how to play drums from the drummer at my father's church. And so I took maybe 2 drum lessons, and they were basically how to count to 4, and that, the snare went on 2 and the kick went on 1. And then basically if I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, I could play the drums as long as I'm on tempo. And so that was like my start into music. And I never really knew it was going to take me anywhere. I mean, I was 9, 10, 11, exploring instruments and learning how to, strum a guitar and all that kind of good stuff. Now, what I did find is over the years, I started to see the music scene in my local town. We had a teen center and they provided us with a skate park and place to play pool, but also they had weekend events. And at these events, there'd be crazy shows with local bands and touring bands and all that kind of good stuff. And so that's how I started to get interested in the music scene. And then when I was 18 and I graduated, I found a couple of musicians at the church I was going to, and we started a band. And that's how I started to learn how to book shows. So, in the first 10 years of my life as a musician, it was just getting interested. And it was interested in just the fact that I could perform, that I could possibly get paid for it, that people that I love would be able to see me do something that I love. I didn't really feel like I had too many things outside of music that I was good at or that I was passionate about, besides going to church and stuff. And so what happened was I started to see that I'm not the typical person cut out for a 9-to-5 job. And so because of that, I felt like I needed to figure out what I was passionate about so that when I woke up in the morning, I wasn't miserable dreading to go to this 9-to-5 job. But I'm 18, 19 thinking this, and I'm booking our first shows at dive bars and at local venues and going all up and down Northern California for $30 a show and all that kind of stuff, and never realizing I did a slew of shows as an adult, 18-year-old, and I could have been registered as a songwriter, getting royalties and collecting mechanical royalties for all of those things. I was out there putting in tons of effort with no industry knowledge. I didn't know what the industry was like, what it was to be a legitimate musician, to be a registered songwriter, or anything like that. And I felt like I was just shooting in the dark. I was reading all the forums that I could find. I was talking to all the local musicians that I could find, just to see if I can have them help me get myself together and really understand what was going on. I knew there was a music scene, and I knew you had to be active in it and you had to be participating. And so what I did is I made the decision that I was gonna start being active. So I did all these shows, and eventually, your band breaks up or whatever goes on. And so I took a break. And while I was taking that break, I learned how to record. I learned how to produce and all that kind of stuff. And so I learned how to do this at home. I picked up recording books and I was really adamant about learning how to record. And so the reason that happened is because one day I went to the library and I looked up music careers and careers in music and the salaries that go along with it. And I saw audio producer or mixing producer or any type of audio engineer. And it was $0 to $100,000 on average. And I was $0 to $100,000. That's a pretty wide range. But I figured, hey, like, if that's the case, maybe it'd be a good freelance career, right? And so I decided I was gonna go and apply at a local community college that had a recording program, and it was a high-end recording program, one of the best in northern Sacramento, or Northern California. And it was American River College right here in Carmichael, California. And I attended, I completed the program, and then I went and got an internship at a radio station. And this is where things started to get really interesting, because about that time when I was finishing up the program, I started to realize, like, there's a lot of artists in town that may have recording knowledge, that may get really good recordings, but nobody really understood the business. Nobody knew that they had 6 different rights, and even though they'd taken the classes at the community college, nobody really knew how to pull through and be consistent and, like, start building a career as a musician. And then, you know, we not only had that as an issue, but I started to realize, like, local venues are only doing pay-to-play shows where you're pretty much buying 50 tickets. I know it doesn't, you know, that's not necessarily the truth. They want you to sell them. But let's be real, you know, you can only sell your friends and family $50 tickets probably once or twice before they stop coming to the show, even if there is a really good headliner. So I started realizing these pay-to-play gigs were not cutting it. You know, I realized, like, nobody here knows how to collect a royalty, not even me. And then I realized, like, if I was going to be valuable to the community, I needed to find a way to give back. And so I decided, hey, you know, like, let me learn the industry, let me learn the way things operate so that I can leverage this to build my music community around me. And then we can, you know, learn about the ins and outs of the music business. And then we can operate together and form branches and build really strong roots also to establish ourselves as an industry city. So I've set out on a journey to educate local musicians and indie musicians on what it is to be in the music industry, what it is to have rights and not be taken advantage of, and then also what it is to understand that you're also a brand. On top of everything else, you are a brand, and you're, you know, really something that needs to be marketed. So you can have your recording products, and they can be polished and they can be perfect. There's millions of songs out there that you've never heard or even imagined of hearing from artists that you love. But the thing is they haven't released them, or if they have, they haven't marketed them. And so you don't even know that they exist, or they never got the recognition they deserved for those songs. One of my favorite things to think about is how many people are in the city that have mad talent. And I mean, if you've been to Sacramento, you know that there's tons of people here with crazy amounts of talent, but nobody knows who they are. Like, the people in the music community know who they are, but like average people, everyday people, do not know the talent that lives inside their walls of the city, of course. And so now, being that I've been recording out of a studio for the last 2 years, and then also being that, like, I've been a part of the music scene and I've done shows and I've seen, you know, the outcome of whatever it is that we get put through with the pay-to-play shows and not collecting royalties from the pot that, like, they pay into. Literally, it's owed to you. Even if you're just a garage band, for your original works, you need to register with the rights organization, performing rights organization like ASCAP, BMI, or something of the nature of that. And then, you know, like, nobody was getting what they were owed. People were paying into it, and I'm sure the people that were on tour and doing that sort of thing, like the major label people that came through Live Nation, who's buying up all the local venues and all the things like that, I'm sure they were registering for their, you know, their royalties and stuff that they were owed. And they, you know, they usually bring merch and things like that. And so those things are really crucial to a artist's career. And so I got really passionate about helping people understand that they are owed money and that they have rights to their music, and people owe you money for performing at their venues. And so all of that stemmed from 10 years ago when I was homeless and I was trying to learn, about recording and how that worked. And, okay, so we got a song, let's put it out on SoundCloud and Reverb Nation and Bandcamp, all the free platforms. And I realized nothing was happening. We weren't going to pop. And I realized that, hey, like, nobody's writing about us, and like nobody even knows we exist. And so I struggled for the last 10 years to really get an understanding on how the industry works and, where we can take this, and how independent artists are now the ones holding the power. Once you have leverage, once you have fans and you build a fan base and you get your people and crew, everything can change. And so I want to encourage you, continue to do research, continue to understand, like your rights. And if you need that help, please subscribe and to our YouTube channel. Because, the reason I decided to start a YouTube channel, the reason I decided to start giving workshops and advice on these things is because I personally struggled with it. And by learning the information, it was only so useful. And I learned that when I present this information to other people in my community, which you should, that the potential with the community grows. The potential to, establish yourself as an artist and be legitimate and have commercial acknowledgement and success all relies on the fact that you need other people around you also to be a part of the business. There's more than enough to go around. And what we need to learn is how to give back and give knowledge so that people can be educated in their rights, in their intellectual properties, their copyrights, and their ownership of that, and what it means and how they can merchandise and build a brand and create an audience. All those things are crucial. And so I want to encourage you, if you do not have that knowledge, please subscribe to our channel. We're going to be releasing videos on what royalties are. We're going to give you definitions and expand on like where you can register and things like that. So my name is Jesse Haynes. Thank you for listening to my spiel about why I joined the music industry, why I've decided to take on the role of being a music educator and really letting people know about the value that they hold in their notebooks and in their recordings and all of those things and in their brand. So if you'd like to find out more about why you are important to the music industry and why you have power now more than ever to succeed at being an independent artist, I implore you, please research, subscribe, like, comment, get us some views so that we can start getting everybody this knowledge. Everybody deserves to know as an artist, after they've put all the thousands and hundreds of, of dollars into their equipment and gear and time. I value you and you should value you. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.